Good morning. I'm Bob Papanetti. I'm President and CEO of the Literacy Cooperative. I want to welcome all of you who are here at the Educational Services Center with us and all of you who are joining us virtually. Thank you for being here for our community's fifth 2Gen Summit. The theme of this summit is evolution of family-centered partnerships. And we have a new report that will be coming out or has come out which chronicles the activities that have been happening over the last 4 years, really since our first 2Gen Summit in 2018. And as I think about that first summit that we had about 100 people show up, and they represented organizations that primarily served adults, and there were people that with organizations that primarily served children. And it was interesting to me that so many of them didn't know each other at all. And in fact, they didn't even know about the agencies. And I guess as I thought more about that, it shouldn't have been surprising because adult serving organizations and people kind of hang out together and talk about strategies, and child focused programs and people kind of hang out together and talk about their strategies. So it was interesting to come together and see kind of some of the interaction. At that summit, we had two consultants from the National Center for Families Learning who came to present to the group and talk about their experience, because the National Center for Families Learning had done a lot of work with 2Gen programming and helping other communities get to be a more family-focused service delivery model. And I remember talking to the consultant saying, so what does the evolution look like of a community getting from, kind of serving adults or children separately to one that's 2Gen? And of course they said, well, every community is different. They find a different path. But a couple of things I remember them saying that really stuck with me and our team. They said, you've got a great start here, 100 people in a room. You're probably going to need to pare it down to those that are willing and able to commit to coming to meetings on a regular basis, rolling up those proverbial sleeves and say, how is our community going to do this? If we want to be a family-focused service delivery community, how are we going to do this? The other thing they said is, it would be beneficial if there was an organization who was kind of, who saw that as their task to keep that group together, to make sure that communications were clear among all the members, to make sure that the meetings were scheduled, agendas were set, follow-up was happening, to help guide the vision and strategy of the collective thinking of that group of partners, that steering committee, as we called it. And so the Literacy Cooperative accepted that role, put out a call to the people who were at that meeting, said, who wants to be part of the steering committee? And I think I was talking to Lori the other day, I think we got 21, 22 people said, we want to do it. And we were so blessed and fortunate because there were really some amazing people who were doing great work. And again, with organizations that were on both sides of the aisle, there's some serving adults, some serving children. And I really want to thank all those who were part of the original group. And I know there's been some new members that have come on in the last 4 years. We're happy that the core group seems has remained intact. But if you are a member of that steering committee, have been a member of the steering committee, raise your hand. If you're online virtually, put up your little raise hand. We'd love to recognize you for the great work you're doing. Thank you. I've been fortunate to be able to, again, watch this evolution of this group and really our community's work to become a family-focused service delivery community. In fact, several pilots started right before the pandemic. And we had some concern, like, how is this going to possibly happen virtually? But it did. And many of those pilots are no longer called pilots. They're initiatives that are happening. It's growing organically. And as I think about the work of that committee too, again, these are people who they're busy with the organizations that they're with, busy doing the work that they're funded to do, whether it's helping people get jobs, helping people get their GED or high school equivalency, helping children get better prepared for kindergarten. Yet they're taking the time to come together for something that could be better for the families that we serve and better for their organizations. And I'm reminded of a quote I saw that President Obama had said when I think it was when Prince Philip had passed away, but I thought it applied to this group, at least my thinking of it. And the quote is, true partnership has room for both ambition and selflessness, all in service of something greater. true partnership has room for both ambition and selflessness, all in service of something greater. And to me, I thought it captured the spirit of that group, because clearly they're coming together, they're working together in a collaborative fashion, yet it doesn't prevent any one organization from kind of doing their thing, from seeking funding from an organization to do a program. Yet it seems to be somehow working more in collaboration than disparate and separate silos that we often see in our community. I mentioned earlier that the Literacy Cooperative accepted the role to be this convener, this coordinator, this backbone in a collective impact model. The person on the Literacy Cooperative who has really been the strength behind that, who I think has provided some of the structure and stability, is Lori Atkins Holliday, who has really focused on doing that. So before I turn the podium over to Lori, I want to introduce Joe Byrne, who's over there getting a graphic recording of this meeting. She's with an organization called See Your Words, and I've had the opportunity to experience some of her great work. So we're excited to see what this meeting looks like after Joe's done. So thank you for being here, Joe. So I'd like to turn it, you all know Lori Atkins from the Literacy Cooperative. Lori, come on up.
Thank you. I sometimes can't remember my name. You know, this many years having Atkins and now having a hyphenated name is just very interesting. So for all of you that don't know, I got married on July 9th and came back from my honeymoon Monday to get this event together. So nothing like scheduling something very close. Thank you so much for all of you attending on Zoom, all of you attending in person. I know this is the, I tell everyone else they could, and then I leave mine on. I think one of the things that is interesting about having this event is we knew it was going to be a hybrid event, and it was just one of the things we have to test out and see how many people do show up in person, how many opt out at the last minute and decide to do virtual. Totally understand. As long as you're here, we're happy to see you, whatever venue you can be. We also are recording this so that we can kind of dice it up into segments and then have it available. If there's something that you really wanted to look back on or work with, you'll have that opportunity probably in the next week or so to do that. Let me see if this moves. I don't know why it takes so much. So I'm going to talk a little bit on behalf of the Cuyahoga County 2Gen Steering Committee. We have been meeting, as Bob said, since 2018, and one of the things that we did early on within the first few months is we decided that the Literacy Cooperative wanted to be part of the conversation. We didn't want to be known as like the expert telling the community what to do. We wanted to be part of the discussion and seeing how it evolved and how we could help. So we intentionally put a consultant in place to be that facilitator, and then we would work with her to guide the work as we needed to. So Rebecca Kushner has been with us, and she is on virtually, has been with us the whole time, kind of guiding and leading the committee on this journey of what we needed to do. And so we thought it fitting, since this is our 5th summit and the Literacy Cooperative's 5th year of doing this 2Gen work, that we would let the community know what's been happening. Every year we've been doing it through the summit, but we thought it was time to put it on paper. So thanks to many of the committee members, Rebecca has kind of formulated a lot of different information together in the Evolution of 2Gen report. The committee received it last night, probably after they went to bed. The rest of the world will receive it via our email, our website later on today. And it's a great report to really reflect upon our call to action, which was the first thing the committee really formalized and did, and like looking at each piece of the call to action and what we actually achieved through that. So you'll see in each area, we've divided it between the different priorities and have really looked at, what actually happened with those. And the 4 call to action priorities was involving parents and family members as part of our planning process. Parents actually changed to caregivers as part of this as well. Expanding interagency knowledge among all service providers through site visits and sharing. We got to do that for the first couple years, then went virtual. Implementing formal referral strategies and shared databases among organizations, and incubating 2Gen programming pilots and tracking results, scalability, and sustainability. You will see in the reports a little bit about what was the evolution for each of these and what we're still working on and will continue to work on. And really, one of the things that we talked about at the end of the report is saying we actually need to update and have a call to action 2.0 at this point, because I think we've done really great work and want to expand and go beyond that. Some of the key takeaways that we share in there is that we asked the committee members through a survey, and you'll see the results of the survey that we also included in this report, what the value is of being on the 2Gen steering committee. And many of the people, the top things that came through is leveraging community partnerships, collaboration and idea sharing, and network that supports the needs of families. And what I refer to these three key things is social capital. And if you look at the 6 components of 2Gen approaches, one of the key gears is social capital for the families, giving them a support system and teaching them, where they can access services, and then getting to know other people so that they, aren't relying on just themselves to handle a last minute issue or to find out about something new that they want their children to be involved in or they want to be involved in. But I really feel and I'm very excited about, we felt it very crucial that in order to build the social capital of the families, we had to build the social capital of our group. Because how can we not have social capital if I'm an early childhood provider and a parent comes to me and says, I'd like to get my GED, and you don't have any social capital to know even where to send them. I mean, 211 is a great resource, and I think, people many times do that. But if you could say, you know what, Tri-C, the library, and here, I know Jamie and Paula, give them a call. Giving that much detail to somebody builds social capital with that person. They feel more comfortable. They have a name, they have a location, they have kind of a testimonial, if you will, from a provider. So we really felt it crucial, and I'm very excited that the committee agreed that we really had to build the social capital of our committee and of the community in order to give a better service of building social capital of the families. What another key takeaway is the biggest change since the 2Gen implementation at the organizations. One of the things, needs identified by families shape programming. I know a lot of times, and I was a service provider. I ran adult programs for workforce development. And I know we always ask for evaluations. We ask for different types of feedback on different things that we did. And I think that's crucial. And we made changes based on that. But when you can get somebody involved in the very beginning, that is even better, because then you start the program with something that people want and are invested in. And I think that is really great that we're seeing that a lot in the different initiatives that are here. 2Gen plan. We did that in 2017 for the first time. And I think it is very interesting that so many others have shared the same thing, is that, yes, that's part of our strategic plan, is this whole family concept. More intentional partnerships. I think that intentional meaning that, we're looking to make sure that, do we have every gear of the 2Gen approach represented in a partnership? Not that a program has to include all of these, because it's very hard to do, and there are some that do it, but it's very hard to do. But do you have a great connection if I need to send somebody to mental health counseling? Is there somebody I know that I can refer them to? So I think that's been really great also with the committee. And so I invite you to we will send out the link this afternoon. I invite you to look at the report and just see what you think. We are very proud of it. The committee is very proud of what was invested in it, and we thank Rebecca for putting all our ideas, thoughts, and feedback on it. And it's just something that I think really resonates with what's been going on and is in the spirit of what this event is about.